This is a big game, isn't it? Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Premier League football, midweek action, December. It's always fun. Christmas is here. Is the Chelsea capitulation going to be here? Or are we going to be able to ride the wave, which is currently the uncertainty wave at Old Trafford? We saw Manchester United were beaten at Newcastle by 1-0 at the weekend, but it seemed as though, despite only losing by a goal, it felt to me as though this was a bigger moment for Manchester United. There's been a bit of a fallout, bit of a backlash after this one, suggesting that Erik ten Hag has indeed lost half of the dressing room. They don't like the training sessions, they don't like the style of football, and as a result of that, everything just doesn't seem to be as rosy as they would like it to be. They've played 14 matches in the league. They've won 8 of them. They've lost 6 of them. They are pretty much out of the Champions League. They've somehow got to find some form, some quality to beat Bayern Munich next week in order to progress into the last 16. Man United in a bit of a mess. Welcome to the table, Chelsea Football Club, a club who have been known as Charity FC over the years, going to places and gifting points when teams seem to need them the most. And Manchester United at Old Trafford, we have not been good here for so long. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left Manchester United, Chelsea have not won at Stamford Bridge for 10 years, which is horrifying. Man United is always one of those games where, as much as it's not for me as aggressive in terms of the rivalry as an Arsenal or a Tottenham, there has still been enough in my lifetime of Chelsea versus Manchester United for me to look at this fixture and think, well, yes, we were competing for Champions League finals against you. We've been competing for Premier League titles against you. You are our big rivals. And I think Chelsea here will go to Manchester United very buoyed after the performance against Brighton. Not necessarily just the performance, more so the result, getting 3 points against another good team. Chelsea beat Brighton 3-2, and we've got to kind of play on the fact that there were moments in this game where we could have easily scored so many more goals. You got Madueke looking like he was sharp again. Jackson was looking sharp. Cole Palmer wasn't fit enough to start, but he should be fit enough to start this game here at Manchester United. Obviously, as a Man City fan growing up, as a previous Manchester City player, you'd expect there to be a bit of added impetus for a Cole Palmer, for also a Raheem Sterling, formerly of Liverpool and City as well. Chelsea, of course, are going to be without Conor Gallagher after his red card for 2 yellow cards in that first half in the game against Brighton. Thiago Silva, question potentially about whether or not Thiago Silva is going to be able to play so soon after that Brighton game. So the way that I have lined up my Chelsea starting 11 here, it's kind of going to look like a 4-2-3-1. Obviously, the way that Chelsea defend, the way that Chelsea attack, it's always going to be very different, the formations and the way it looks in and out of possession. But I do think here, Chelsea are going to have enough to go to Manchester United and win. It's always been one of those games recently where no matter what form Manchester United have been in, they seem to find another gear against Chelsea. And at the moment, it's so difficult to actually predict any kind of Chelsea game due to the chaotic nature of the way that Chelsea are. Like, are we going to be the kind of Chelsea that can go and be ruthless? Are we going to be the Chelsea that will go and capitulate like we did in a toxic atmosphere at Newcastle? Toxic for us, not toxic for anyone else. Newcastle made it tough, the fans made it tough, and Chelsea capitulated. Could Man United create something similar? I don't think they can. I think Chelsea now, there's not been a better time, in my opinion, to go to Old Trafford. United have got so many of their key players out injured. There's also, is Mason Mount going to be fit? He's been getting closer and closer to full fitness to be able to start this game against Chelsea. And I just feel as though we can seriously pile the pressure on United here. We are currently 5 points, I think it is, behind them. 4 or 5 points behind them in the league. So we've got to win. This is a must-win game. We cannot keep going further away from the teams above us. And we've been good against the big boys. So without any further ado, we begin with Robert Sanchez in goal. As I've said, credit where credit is due. He made some really big saves in that match at the weekend against Brighton. Chelsea were peppered in the final depths of the match. But the back four in front of Robert Sanchez, we have got a change here. Reece James suspended for that game against Brighton. He comes back in, Axel Disasi, who I think has been absolutely fantastic. He keeps his place alongside Benoit Badiashile, and Levi Colwill comes in at left back despite Marc Cucurella being available once again in the Chelsea team. Colwill's first goal for Chelsea, do not underestimate just how much this meant to him. But as well as that, I think Levi Colwill is a top player. There's a reason he's got the number 26 on the back of his Chelsea shirt. I think Chelsea see him as a John Terry long-term replacement at the club. And I think when you look at the way that Cucurella defended against Newcastle, there were moments in that match where you're like, this is literally on you. Positionally, he wasn't there. And I think when I look at this back four, there's a lot of pace in there. There's a lot of strength in there too. Reece James coming back into the team. Obviously, we need him to keep his discipline again. We don't want to see a third match in a row where our captain gets himself sent off. But Reece being back is massive. Do not underestimate it. Disasi was good in the game against Brighton, but I think Chelsea can be even more threatening when we see Reece James back in the team. Moving into what looks like a midfield pivot here of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. These two playing together in a pivot is something that we've been kind of waiting to see all season long. It's a difficult one with Chelsea because you've got Gallagher's legs in there. You've got that incredible press that he seems to have, just like this boundless energy that he can bring in game after game after game. He's suspended for this one. So I think we are going to see potentially a little shift in the shape here. And I think Chelsea will aim to overrun Manchester United in the midfield. And when you've got the front four that we have, of Raheem Sterling, Cole Palmer as a number 10, going to talk about that, Mudryk on the left starting, and Nicholas Jackson, I think Chelsea can really stretch this game with natural width, and I also think we can frustrate Manchester United. When you look at the back line that United had for their last game against Newcastle, I think it was Maguire, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot. And for me, that is not a very strong Manchester United defence. Sterling has been in brilliant form in certain moments in recent games. Nicholas Jackson, I thought his movement was good. Mudryk, I thought was good. Cole Palmer was kind of not ready to start that last game against Brighton, so he should be ready for this one. I look at this Chelsea team. We've been dominating midfield battles for the majority of recent games, and I think that is how we beat Manchester United here at Old Trafford on Wednesday night, tonight. I'm not going to make this preview any longer than I need to, but I will give my score prediction. If you haven't seen my score prediction, because you haven't watched the Premier League predictions video on Shootout, link to Shootout is in the description. And in the Shootout video, I said that Chelsea will go to Old Trafford and beat them 3-1. I think all of these bad runs that you can be on, they've always got to come to an end at some point. I think the turmoil and the chaos that is currently surrounding Manchester United, you've got the bigger overarching hierarchical stories of, is there going to be a takeover? Are the Glazers going to sell? You've then got the poor performances all season that have only seen Man United score 16 goals all season, which is just an incredibly low number for Manchester United. They've only conceded 17, which is why I want to boost that up to 20 today because Chelsea scored 3. But I just think with all of those things being said, you still don't know what Chelsea are going to turn up. But I think Pochettino can absolutely go into the players for the things that went wrong, that weren't so perfect against Brighton. Look at the way that we've been struggling in recent years against Manchester United. You know, Tony Martial's not finished a Premier League game for 3 years. He was starting up front for them at the weekend. They've got so many injuries too. And I just don't think they're as good of a team as even their current league position suggests. So, Chelsea are going to go to Old Trafford. We're going to ruin their week. We're going to end this horrifying streak that we're on right now against Manchester United. The goals, I think Mudryk scores in this game. I also think Cole Palmer will net a penalty. And Benoit Badiashile is getting on the score sheet at Old Trafford. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I didn't mention it at the start of the video, but if you are not yet following the GBFC Telegram, top link in the description. I'm giving away one of the 100 official hoodies that I have made here that are going to be on sale very, very soon in partnership with a menswear brand in Bali. It's amazing quality. It's great stuff. I think you guys are going to absolutely love it. If you're not following the Telegram, you won't win. And yeah, my throat is still sore from shouting at the screen at the weekend, but hopefully we're shouting at the screen again away at Manchester United. Tune in tonight for 6 things we learned straight after the game, and I will see you guys after the game for 6 things. Come on, you Blues.